Well, welcome to the Crypto Twits Podcast. I might have to do a couple takes of that after this is done because I mess it up. Actually, I think that one went all right. Let's see. But we have with us Lisa Lau. She is from the Secret Network. She's the one in charge of the entire operation, if that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's correct.
I got this idea from inside the Actors Studio, except like not the James Lipton version of I didn't like send off cards to all of your people that you know to get stories and talk to you about them. So I just took what I could get from your website and on Secret Network. But this is really interesting. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you went biomedical engineering to forestry to math.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know where there's questions in there, but I don't even know what they would be. If you could give a little rundown of how that went.
I actually, I feel like that is my origin story, which I try to share with people, which is basically it doesn't matter where you're from, there's a place for you in Web3. Doesn't matter where you came from, doesn't matter what you studied. It takes everybody a while to figure out what they like doing, but there's room for everybody, no matter what you like doing in the Web3 world. And you should all get into it. That's my mantra.
Sweet. Yeah, Web3. So for people watching this who are not familiar, who've only heard anecdotally about Web3, I don't even know if this is the right question to ask because it's too broad, but what is Web3 versus Web2?
Yeah, good question. We used to call it crypto, and then we called it blockchain for a while. Now we call it Web3. The reason we call it Web3 is that the internet was meant as it was a huge innovation, right? And that's Web 1. But Web 2 was really where we could all communicate. We have a bunch of ISPs. It's somewhat centralized because the ISPs centralize things, and Google, let's be honest, centralizes a whole lot more. Now we're talking about decentralization, which is what blockchain is good at. And so we call it Web3 because it's now the decentralized internet that we're approaching, a way of communicating, a way of interacting with everybody else that isn't ideally controlled by one big company or several big companies.
When how was it? It wasn't very long ago. AWS crashed. YouTube just went offline. What is preventing people, individuals, or small entities or larger entities from going into a more decentralized space? Is that just scale or compliance issues?
The infrastructure hasn't really. You mean individuals, right? You're talking about individuals?
Sure, individuals, even like companies or small businesses.
Bottom line is, if there's a big company, there's someone you can blame if things go wrong, right? AWS goes down, you can point the finger. And if you have damages, you can go after them with lawsuits. If everything is decentralized it's much more resilient, first of all. So it's less likely to go down, but you're also much more self-reliant, especially with financial transactions, for example. If you send a blockchain transaction, it's gone. You can't call your bank and say, oh, wait, I didn't mean to. Bring it back. There's no recourse. True. So it's this self-reliance that I think it scares people. Decentralization brings a lot less, a lot more accountability for the individual and less accountability on the outside for someone that you can really hold responsible for your problems.
Yeah, it's a balance. Somebody will figure out someday, hopefully, maybe. Who knows? So speaking of decentralization. We have to build the
infrastructure. Yeah, we have to build the infrastructure in order for it to be useful.
So, all right, I don't want to. I get off on tangents, but I want to dive into Secret Network. But who's in the decentralized space? Like, who's a an AWS-ish entity? Is it like Filecoin, storage, any of those?
Yeah, sure. Filecoin could be a little bit like AWS, but that's mostly around storage, data storage. What AWS provides more than anything else, and Google Cloud as well, and Microsoft Azure, is compute power. And when we talk about AI and the future, it's all about who has the most compute power. So I would say that the cloud providers like AWS are mostly providing you the ability to run your software or run your infrastructure on a big enough data center that can handle it. So a better comparison would be someone like Fala, for example. Fala provides decentralized compute. Morpheus provides decentralized compute. Akash provides decentralized compute. There used to be another company. I don't know if they're still around. So yeah, so it's essentially the ability. So I have a computer on my desk here. You've got one on your desk. They probably are not used 100% of the time. What if we networked them together and they provided that decentralized compute? What if there was a way that the idle cycles could be used for powering these big applications or banks or whatever in a secure way? And for that, you need encryption, which is a big topic, I'm sure, for us today.
Boy. Yeah, seems like the more we get into this stuff, the more we realize we don't know and that we need things to fix before they can go anywhere. How did you get into the space? What got you here?
That's a good question. So I was working at PayPal. My background is working at Apple as a developer and then at PayPal in digital acquisition. And in 2016, I did a reorganization of PayPal's marketing structure. Long story, but that's how I transitioned from being a programmer into being a marketer. But I was at PayPal and I was looking at the market. I was looking how innovative they had been in the past. And I thought, how do we continue to innovate? Obviously, we have to go towards blockchain because blockchain is financial innovation, right? FinTech. So I put all my energy, all of my contacts to work trying to get PayPal to embrace cryptocurrency and blockchain. It seemed very clear to me that was the direction PayPal needed to go. And just hit a brick wall, utterly hit a brick wall. It wasn't just me. I had some other colleagues who were also trying to make this happen, but we couldn't get it to happen. And so meantime, I was doing all my little on the side trading, Bitcoin stuff, Bitcoin futures. And I ended up getting to know some of the people at BitMEX, and they begged me. They're like, please come and help us. We don't know business at all. We need someone who can actually run a business.
That's Arthur Hayes'
make money.
Arthur Hayes
make money.
Started BitMEX, right?
Yeah. Oh, Arthur, Ben, and Sam were the three co-founders of BitMEX. And Arthur's the one who's really the famous one.
Yeah, I there's not a lot of personalities that I follow on X, but I dig Arthur Hayes. That dude, I am convinced the dude's a GAN analyst. I'm a GAN analyst, and I'm convinced that Arthur Hayes was one of those. But if he's not, he should be because he's really good with cycles.
Yeah, he's good with cycles. He's also good with forcing them.
Yeah, that's very true too.
So he was my first boss in crypto. Imagine that's my first experience in crypto, and it was
no way.
It was like plunging into cold water. Yeah, I reported to Arthur. So I went from PayPal, all the structure, to BitMEX reporting to Arthur, who's on stage swearing. And I'm like, no, you can't swear. I was in charge of marketing. I was like, no, please don't swear.
The compliance people will be very angry. Wait, there is no compliance team.
What compliance people?
That's funny.
That was like a huge shock, I will say. So I
That
went
is
on from there to work at several other exchanges. I was at Gemini for a minute, and then I worked at ShapeShift with Eric Voorhees. So that again was just like that was plunging into a whole fast paced. I had suddenly 45 people reporting to me, and um, they had pivoted. ShapeShift pivoted from having um, no KYC. In the beginning, they were no KYC. They were the OG in swaps. And then suddenly Eric felt he had to protect the employees and implement KYC. We lost all the customers, and they hired me to to fix it. So that was also very
wow.
exciting. Just
I did not know that about you.
my whole crypto journey
That's
has been chaotic, very chaotic.
you've like literally worked with for like two of the top five people influencing and creating the crypto industry.
And
That's craziness.
Justin's son tried to hire me for
Oh,
Poloniex. Poloniex, remember that? When he
oh
first took over
yeah.
Poloniex. And then Charles Hoskinson actually gave me a job offer right before the FTX crash.
No.
So, yeah, to be CMO of IOHK. And but then FTX crashed. They decided to do a complete reorg and withdrew the offer. So, like, I have a collection of characters in my background.
That I'm so happy I asked these questions because this is gold. I think that is just the coolest stuff. And wow, yeah, I could pick your brain on all that a little bit more, but I'll keep going down there. I don't want to waste too much of your time here. Secret network.
Yeah.
What is it?
Secret network is essentially a privacy preserving blockchain. And we have encrypted smart contracts, so private smart contracts by default, which is revolutionary. Now we're very much focused on providing decentralized confidential AI because, but just to talk about the original concept for Secret Network, it uses trusted execution environments, and every validator contains a little secure enclave. So these secret smart contracts are passed from secure enclave to secure enclave between the validators. They never come out of that. If they do come out, they're encrypted, so no one can read them. But inside the secure enclave, it's extended across all the validators. Essentially, they can run the code because they're in this walled garden of the TEE. So it's a unique network because no other network requires all of its validators and nodes to have this Intel SGX processor, but the only way that we are able to be performant and maintain privacy is by having this specialized hardware so that we can pass around the secrets between nodes.
That's craziness. Yeah, I actually tried to see if there was. I was going to add something in here, a normal question is competitors in the space, and it's I did not really find any because privacy is a space that's quite broad, but yeah, this TEE model. I would
say our competitors do FHE like Phoenix and MPC like Partisia and ZK like Zcash. So the competitors are using other encryption mechanisms.
And does Secret Network allow for making things not private to disclose some things, or is it always private all the time?
No, that's the thing. It's not. It's selectable privacy. So by default, it's not private. Nothing is private. You have to select privacy.
And that is how you stay happy with regulators. Monero.
Yeah, exactly. That's
a good question. About, I guess, I thought I have it in here somewhere about privacy. Last year, I've been a fan of Zcash, privacy in general. I'm more of a crypto idealist than I am an investor and a speculator. And privacy is the thing that seems to have gotten lost or forgotten down the road. Do you see that becoming more important and relevant as a trend, or just that's going to naturally develop as time goes on in this space?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm just going to touch on compliance because you mentioned it. I don't think that privacy and compliance are mutually exclusive. Um, if you like you said, secret provides programmable privacy, so since you can selectively disclose, we can maintain compliance with regulatory requirements, and that's a differentiator. But then if you ask whether privacy is going to become normal, I think it will. And the reason I think it will is that we have so many breaches all the time of our data and our privacy. And while there's always a war between convenience and security, right? Security is usually a trade off of convenience. If we can make it so it only takes you an extra 10 seconds to make yourself secure, then yeah, fine. But look at Claude. Look at the just to go back to AI for a second. Claude has had these huge breaches and privacy leaks and used copyrighted content without permission, and there's lawsuits, there's concerns. It's not very secure, but it's so powerful. That's a difficult equation because if you're talking about, well, I could write this entire research paper myself, it'll take me 3 weeks, or I could do it on Claude, it'll take me about an hour. That's a huge trade-off, right? But if you're talking about 10
Mm-hmm.
seconds, I could use Claude or I could use SecretVM, which provides the same power with an LLM, but it's encrypted. Like it has confidential AI infrastructure on the back end so that using the same technology as secret network plus GPUs, so that my data is not being absorbed by the larger world or Anthropic or Microsoft or Google. I'm keeping myself private. That's more reasonable as a trade-off.
Oh, good segue question for me to ask, because where is there something that people can, like a test net or something available already that people can go use and test and try out?
Yeah. If you go to our website, scrt.network, and look for a secret VM, you can find it. We have it available so people
And
can
Edgar,
try it
somebody's
out.
going to put where my pen is pointing. They'll put a little thingy on the screen over my label that says click here. I don't have to do that part, so I just have to say how cool it'll look. But
Yeah, so people can try it out right now and see how fast it is. Might be there's a little bit of overhead because it's all encrypted, but it's not very much. It's like 10%.
oh, nothing. That's
Reasonable.
very reasonable. Yeah, everything's just most of my machine. I just want to someday have an RTX 5090 Ti that does not melt, and then that's my dream. So, what are my notes here? Let's see. Is there anything with like the EU? Anything that Secret Network has had to deal with regarding like EU regulations or UK regulations and UK regulations?
No, MiCA compliance is very difficult to achieve, but that's as a blockchain, we don't really have to deal with that. It's mostly the applications that build on top of us that would have to maintain MiCA compliance. If you're talking about GDPR, then blockchains inherently have a problem across the board because the right to forget is very difficult to do with something that's immutable. So the solution there is not to put private data on the blockchain itself, not to put personal data that needs to be forgotten on the blockchain itself. You can encrypt it, you can have it on a side channel, but don't put it on the chain. But that's really implementation specific, so it's not us that has to worry about it. More our clients.
Oh, I had a question here about the yield or the. Do you guys call? I can't remember. Do you guys call it a yield or is it the staking reward?
Staking rewards.
That the government, is it still on the table to cut it from 18 to 9 or 6? I haven't actually kept up to date with that.
It is still on the table. I wouldn't say that it's moving very quickly, because as soon as the inflationary nature of the token means that it's hard to maintain. It doesn't support the value as easily. But on the other
Right.
side, a lower staking APR would make it less attractive for users to stake their tokens, and it would make it less attractive for validators in particular to
Mm-hmm.
run their nodes. And if they're not making enough, then we have a smaller number of nodes. So at the moment, we have a balance where the stake and rewards are quite high in order to compensate the validators mostly and encourage people to stake their tokens.
So let's see. So you've expanded SecretVM to AWS Azure. Did that question? Oh yeah, A16Z called privacy the most important mode in crypto heading into 2026, and specifically cited you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was a huge endorsement, and we were thrilled to see it. A16Z is very respected, one of the most respected venture capital firms in the world, and their recognition of the importance of privacy in general is a major validation of what our vision has always been. And we have not always been the popular kid. Privacy has gotten a bad rap. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
nice. It's really nice to see A16Z making the same argument, and maybe the rest of the industry is starting to catch up too. So we're proud to have been here the whole time and taken our
Yes.
knocks and still be here.
And I think even like speculators in the space, it's like almost, and I hate like always comparisons to stocks, but the longer that principled entities stay and stick around and continue to be there, they're generally still around and gain value over the long term. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, we want to see the future of we're ready to play a critical role in decentralized internet and the future of all that. So keep your eyes
Speaking
open.
of future, your 2026 roadmap.
Yeah.
And then I'll put a link in here for that. But what is the major goal? Secret Network 2026 or goals?
Utility. So what we've built on SecretVM and Secret AI is very powerful. We have a partnership with Centara doing medical related agents and as soon as you start doing medical stuff, you want to have privacy and encryption, of course. And then if you add in AI agents to that, which is what Centara is so good at, then you have much more power. These medical agents have a lot of power. So you definitely want to make sure that they have privacy, that they are encrypted. So that's one implementation, one use case that we're working hard on. It's coming along really well. We want to see more adoption of encrypted agents and more adoption of private AI implementations. So it could be related to voting or auctions, or medical is a big one, of course. Anything to do with research, anything that takes data from lots and lots of people and makes sweeping conclusions out of it should have privacy added to it, or actually privacy as a foundational element to it. So that's what
Privacy a
we want to
feature
see.
or a right in crypto?
It's a difficult question. I've said for a while, I think privacy is a right. I do get some pushback on that idea, but I mean, isn't it? Isn't it a right? Shouldn't it be?
I feel like it is. Whether it's not. I mean, the U.S. Constitution. It's not listed as an inalienable right, but it is inalienable. Privacy.
Right. When you're talking about institutions, I think it doesn't even matter if it's a right, because institutions are not going to put up with having anything shared, anything transparent.
Yeah.
Their IP, their trading strategy, their marketing strategy, their competitive product roadmap strategy. None of that that's why institutional, what do they call it? Industrial espionage, corporate espionage.
Yeah. Corporate espionage.
That's why that exists, because you can get a lot of a leg up over your competition if you know what they're doing. You can come out before them with the same features. So corporations are not going to put up with any sort of lack of privacy, and so they claim they're right. They have the power to say what yes or no, and they say yes to privacy.
It's this guy. I had like one of these questions on here about what's the one thing, and this might fall into that and might have answered it, but what's one thing that the crypto industry gets completely backwards about privacy?
Okay, that's a great question. And this is why we've had to fight the fight over the past 3 or 4 years is privacy is very often associated. And it's the crypto world, but it's also the media who tag privacy as the exclusive domain of criminals and bad actors, hackers. If you want privacy, you must be doing something wrong, right? And how
Yeah.
crazy is that? How crazy is that idea if you really bring it into the light? If that's true, then please give me your bank statements. I want to know everything that you've spent your money on. Give me all your texts. I want to know what you've said to everybody.
You hiding anything? Why? I don't want to care. It's my private. Well, what are you hiding?
What are you hiding? Are you doing something bad? Like, okay. So just getting rid of that stigma that privacy is a bad thing has been really tough. I feel like it's happening. I feel like the tide is turning now.
Yeah.
Privacy this year
Especially
has been popular.
especially over a lot over the last few years, especially when Gensler was in control, and even the Trump administration, the first time wasn't very friendly to crypto. Everybody was like, crypto's used for crime, and it's like, okay, a lot of things are, but the percentage of it isn't even close to what the dollar is used for crime. Let's be perfectly honest. The dollar is like the thing that people love. It's people want to settle with it for crime. They don't want to settle for anything other than the dollar. So
Right.
just keep our angels of morality to ourselves, other people outside of crypto.
Well, we are trying to change that perception. And I do think the tide is turning. I feel like I'm hearing a lot more about CZ. I heard, CZ, the former CEO of Binance, heard him on the stage in Abu Dhabi a couple months ago. And he was just talking about the importance of privacy. And I was like, yeah, go. Yes. So
Yes.
we're hearing it from a lot of big names, and Apple's been talking about it for ages, but it's okay if Apple talks about it because they're not a crypto company. So now we're starting to see that it's okay for crypto and blockchain as well. I just want that to go faster.
Yeah, that would be great. This is kind of not related to Secret Network, but you're a leader, and the story about biomedical forestry, where you're at, and then Arthur Hayes and Voorhees, that's crazy. What's like best piece of leadership advice that you got that turned out to be wrong?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I have a lot of pieces of advice that turned out to be wrong, but I'm going to go back to to add another name dropping event.
Sure.
When I worked at Apple, I worked with Steve Jobs, and he was he's a character. So he came into a meeting one time, and we're all sitting there listening to him, and he stops and he points to someone. He's like, "Why are you taking notes? You should be listening. Don't take notes." So I guess I took that as how I don't want to lead. At that point, I mean, the person was so embarrassed, so embarrassed. It's like devastating to be called out by Steve Jobs. And
Why are most of the stories about him like horror stories?
I think because, he took pride in being an asshole, and there's value to that in some ways, but my leadership style is very different. It's about authenticity. I always be real with people. I guess what I was taught was that you should never let anyone see you sweat, never let anyone see you that you're wrong. And by contrast to that, I think the only way to lead in chaotic times, which we are in right now, is to be someone that your people trust. And in order to make your people trust you, you need to be authentic, and you also need to have their back. So if anything goes wrong, I will always jump in and say, okay, well, and defend the person and say, that's my bad, because if I can possibly find an angle where I was responsible for that mistake, I will take that responsibility. If anything goes right for my team, I will always say, oh, that was so and so. That, she really did that. That was her idea from the beginning. And by doing that, you gain trust. If you gain trust from your people, you gain loyalty. And in these times when people's jobs are not the same from Monday to Tuesday, never mind from January to February, because AI is coming in and changing, redefining our tasks, redefining how we do things, redefining what's left for people to do, because AI does so much that we used to do.
It's crazy.
So your people are dealing with this chaotic, tumultuous, turbulent environment where they don't know what their jobs are going to be tomorrow. They don't know what you're going to ask. They don't know where their place is in the company, in the world, really. And the only thing they can be sure of is that their leader has their back. If their leader has their back, they will do what I ask, because they know that I'm the one thing that's constant in their world. I'm the one thing they can trust.
Man,
and
you should
that's
be.
not what Steve Jobs told me.
That was. I'm not just tooting a horn. That was probably one of the best inspirational leadership things I've almost little chills on my arms. That was really great. I mean, that was very awesome. Yeah, that was.
I'm really passionate about teaching people good leadership skills, and I'm starting a workshop, actually. If you go to my site, so no, this is not about me, it's about Secret. But if you want to know more about my workshop, lisaloud.com, I have a sign-up page on there where you can sign up to find out when I launch my free workshop on leadership.
That is awesome. Wow, I'm happy I asked these questions, because that was freaking sweet. I'll go through just a couple more questions, and then if there's anything about Secret Network that I didn't bring up, or that, again, I go off on tangents. Not sometimes. Oftentimes, I go on tangents.
Mm-hmm. So it makes it fun.
If Secret Network didn't exist, what problem would keep you up at night?
What the same problem that keeps me up at night now, which is the erosion of privacy in our digital AI-driven world. The pace at which our privacy is being eroded is very fast, and has been fast for several years, but especially in the last few years that AI has risen so much in use and prevalence. Our privacy is just going away so fast. And even in the future, we'll say our pitiful attempts to shield ourselves will be completely demolished by quantum. So in a few years, maybe 5, maybe 10, we're going to see that what we thought we had carefully encrypted and kept hidden is now uncovered. So if it's out there, if you live in an isolated village and you don't have internet and you never put anything online, you're pretty safe. But if you interact with other people and you do stuff online, really, I think our privacy is mostly gone. And that's what keeps me up at night. It's not that it's too late, because there's still the future, and we're building quantum proof algorithms to encrypt our data now.
That was
so. Yeah, there's hope for the future, but I don't know if there's hope for the past. What we've done is probably all exposed.
And it's also weird, how, and I'm so guilty of it, but how most of us are just cool with it. We're just cool with everything of our stuff being out there.
Or do we just not think about it?
Or yeah, we haven't been affected by it yet, and we're That's a good point. Yeah. That is a really good point.
Your phone, have you ever taken, I don't know if you have an iPhone, but if I take a picture, a live picture on my iPhone, maybe it's true on Android too, I don't know. But if I take a live photo and then I go look at the live photo and play it, it'll show me that it started recording from about at least half a second, maybe more, before I pressed that button. How did that happen? Because it's recording all the time. And that's scary, right?
It is weird. And I was talking with, I had this group at my church on Tuesday nights, and I was talking about like this crazy story about CRISPR gene editing stuff that I was reading. And most of my Google feed is just stuff about like crypto, foreign currencies, futures markets, the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, actually not a lot of that because they're terrible. But then as I'm driving back home and I'm getting ready for bed, I pick up my phone. I've got like 3 things about CRISPR that totally unrelated to anything else I look at. But I was talking about it. My phone is in my pocket, and it was like, this is also cool, but also I kind of don't like it.
And your fridge is listening to you. Your phone is listening to you. Your fridge has your vacuum might be listening to you. We're surrounded by your security system. Like, how many devices do we have now that are smart? And how much are they recording about our lives? Like, we can't think about it. We can't. Like, you'd go crazy. You'd be paranoid. Me neither. Let's stop. It's not real. Oh, man.
Two more questions. One, like, not on here, but just because we brought it up, like, how disruptive is quantum computing going to be? Like, as far as just, I guess, anything from like research, medicine, to everything.
I mean, I love quantum because
compared to like automobiles, we had horses and then we had automobiles. Like, is there like a historical analogy of technological shift that is it going to be like that, or is it going to be less effective? I don't know if
it's a really great question.
Well enough to.
No, I get your question. I'm trying to think because I haven't thought about it before. I think mostly about the well, we call it a quantum leap, right? So yeah, I was going to say I think mostly about the quantum leap of AI. AI is like a total game changer. So that's mostly what I think about day to day. But if you think about the fact that, let's just talk about quantum, what it is, just really briefly for a second. A classical computer has to process everything one by one, serially. Quantum, because it can process multiple things at the same time with probability. So instead of like taking, 10 minutes for something, it'll be 0.1 millisecond to do all of those things at once. So that's like a huge, huge difference. And you can do it across distances. So communication becomes different. So yeah, it's a very big game changer. It's just it's much easier for me to tell you what the effects might be of AI rather than what the effects might be of quantum, because it's such a different paradigm. Like, we have to start thinking of everything differently. So I guess the answer is yeah, it will be.
That's
one of those brain bender things.
It's crazy,
aren't they?
Imagine what my kids are kids are 6 and 4, and I just imagine what they're gonna see when they're my age. But so what? I guess one final question is like, what do you want people saying? I don't know if saying, but like what? This is what I wrote down. But what do you want people saying about Secret Network in December of 2026 that they aren't saying today?
Yeah, good question.
Or I guess something like that.
Yeah, it makes sense. I want people to be saying Secret Network is the essential infrastructure that for the next generation of the internet and the next generation of AI, that what Secret has built and the amazing applications that have been built on top of Secret are, life-saving medical diagnostics and more equitable financial systems. and the ability to use the power of AI without giving away our privacy. I want people to say, we should have gotten on board sooner. I should have bought secret stock. I should have bought secret token because, this is not financial advice, but because secret is bringing about a more private, secure, and decentralized world. And I think our time has come.
Awesome. This was so much fun. I could pick your brain for hours and it would annoy the crap out of you. I'd love to have you on again sometime because this was so awesome. I don't remember if I wrote down, like I saw you talk at the blockchain futurist conference in that hotel sucked. Like, that we had to like walk through the whole guitar to get to the conference from. But no, when I saw Secret Neck, I was like, oh no, this is fantastic. So that was
great. I'm going to be a futurist again, or if you're going to the next one.
Yeah, I think I am. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head, but I think I am. But yeah, this was so much fun. Thank you so much. This is Lisa Loud from the Secret Network. Thank you so much for coming on. This was great. I'm going to remember this conversation for a long time. This was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thanks, John. Thanks so much for having me.